Hello, this is Resilan Bearcat, and welcome back to Project Zomboid. I release a new video each week for this game. Please subscribe if you would like to be notified when it is released. Today is the start of our series on our nuclear power plant. Now we are going to be walking you through the power plant and how we went from this to this. Now this process has taken quite some time, and it has been a long, involved process, but I'm going to be walking you through what it is and what we're showing and how we're getting to that. So first, to start with, I'm going to walk through the list of resources you need, and in part one here, I'm going to show you where those resources come from. So, to get started, we need 308 bauxite, we need 339 caterium ore, we need 367 coal, 186 copper ore, 63 crude oil, 642 iron ore, 1,062 limestone, 416 nitrogen gas, 228 raw quartz, 330 sulfur, 400 uranium, and 1,123 water. Now as we come over here, you can begin to see the beginnings of the process of what I'm doing here, and we can see that I've got some storage facilities and some trains that are coming in here. So we're going to start with some of the processes and where we're pulling various items from. If we pull up our map, you can come in here and you can kind of see, you can see the claimed limestone and where it's at in relation to where I'm standing. You got my little person icon here in the middle, and you can see the limestone off in the distance. You can see iron ore here nearby that I'm pulling in. Everything to the east is this particular process. I can see the copper. You can see the caterium with the orange circles around it. We can see the coal, and we can actually see where some of this stuff is at. The ones with the blacks filled in circle are the ones that I'm using. So you can, if I go back through that, the bauxite, you can see that it is southwest of us that we're pulling it. The crude oil is right here on top of us. It's kind of underneath the other one that we're pulling. We're not using geysers. You can see the raw quartz down to the south, a little bit west of us. We can see the nitrogen gas down south of us. We're using 4 of those nodes. And we can also see the uranium southwest of us. So we're going to go through here, just kind of walk through the process and pulling this in. I'm using trains to bring this into the station. I've got 3 train stations built, and we're going to take a little bit of a trip on today's episode. So the episode today will probably be a little bit longer than normal as I go through the different things that we have to pull in. But that's what we get. So I'm going to go through all the different areas and kind of show you what I have. First up is the train station here, where I'm bringing in uranium, coal, and bauxite. So let's start with the uranium. If we look at the uranium and we go under here, the uranium is coming from deep underground. There is a node down here, and I won't go all the way down there, but you got to get the idea. Down underneath here in this cave, there is a rich uranium node, and we have a Mark II miner on that. We're pulling 400 of those items out, so it's not a full belt full, but it's a lot of uranium that's coming out of that the ground there, and it's coming up here and going onto our train. Now you can see that our coal and our bauxite are coming from way up here. So this is coming up here. I've built a little process and a large structure to get up here above us on the kind of the cliffs above us in the red forest. And I have a Tech 3 miner here pulling coal out of the ground here. It's not a full belt, but it is pretty close to a full belt of coal that's coming out. I need 365. That is a Mark V belt, so I'm pulling well more than I need on that. And then bauxite, I need 308, and you can see that once again, it's not full either. A little over half full though, and I've got that over here, in a bauxite where this is coming out over here as well. So it's also being pulled out with a Tech 3 miner. It is overclocked a little bit. I'm pulling 480. I only need 308, so I'm pulling well more than I need on this particular build, but that's okay. Didn't want to run out. So bringing the coal and the bauxite down here and bringing it out here. Now you can see the train comes out of here. It loops around behind the train station and goes back up to our starting area. And then we have another train. We're going to try to catch this train. And we've caught the train. We're going to take a train ride. This is taking us down to our factory where we're getting quartz and nitrogen. Now the quartz and nitrogen are coming from over here. Over to our right, as I hop off the train, we have the quartz coming over here from over there on the hillside there. We don't need a ton of quartz. The quartz, we only needed 228 raw quartz, so we're bringing that in. And then the nitrogen over here, we needed 416 nitrogen. Each one of those wells is pulling out 120. So I'm bringing out 480 of that, more also than I need on it as well. So bringing that in, we are putting that onto the train, and then taking the train back up. It's sending it back up to our nuclear power plant. So bringing that in here, we'll take the train ride again. This is the Saturn station. And we are on our way to the next station here. Now, as we're talking about this, all of these different resources and what I'm pulling out and pulling them in, we're definitely using trains and pulling resources from quite a ways from where we're going to build there at the and build our station. So we can see the other train here as we go running by the train station. That's a tight fit, but we make it through there. And we're coming back up in here into where we have other items. Now, we're going to let's go ahead and take this train up here for a second. So this train goes over here to the right, and we'll let it continue to go around. Now we're going to go over here and talk about additional resources that we need. This is another train station that we have here. This train station is bringing in some items from over here to the east. And we can see the train coming in. This train has 4 cars of things that we're bringing in as it goes by us. And some of the things that we're bringing in here is we're bringing copper. Now, the copper is being brought in quite a distance via belt. If we can actually see here that it's being belted quite a long ways here. But I will come over here and show you right over here on the edge of the lake. There's some copper nodes. I have one of those copper nodes and have a miner put on that. So we are bringing out 100. We need 186 copper. That's a Mark III belt, and it is mostly full. In fact, it might be completely full. Looks like it is completely full. And we're bringing that item in here into our station. Then we have Caterium ore that we need coming in. It's coming over from right over there. We have iron ore that's coming in here, and we have limestone that's coming in here. So the limestone is coming from right down there. We're pulling out in this particular location, I'm pulling out 720 parts per minute on that. So that is that pulling as much as I can out of that resource node. And then coming over here and pulling out the iron and the caterium. Now the iron ore is also overclocked at 150%, bringing out 720 on it as well. So that brings out all of the iron that I need. Only need 642. And then the caterium, we're bringing 360 caterium out. I needed 339, so I've got extra caterium. So what I elected to do, because I'm using trains, is to overpull and to pull more resources than I need on these. I also here on these things installed, one of the things I did here was put in like the limestone, because I need so much of the limestone. I need all 720. There's an issue, as all of you probably know. When you pull in the limestone, I pull in the 720 belt. When the train pulls in, it locks you out of the station, and resources are not going into the station for a period of time. So the purpose of this storage container is it serves as a buffer. When we opened it up before, it had 4 items in here, 4 stacks of items. It's now going down. When the train leaves, I then use both belts to run things into the train station, and that actually fills up the train station, and that serves as a buffer so that the items are not backing up and it doesn't stop running. I'm getting the entire 720 per minute into the train station, and even with the train, when it's docked and it's not sending the items across, it backs up, and then I use the 2 720 belts to get that in. I'm doing that with the iron and the copper. I'm not doing that with I'm already pulling more than I need on the caterium and the copper here, so I did not elect to pull them that way. So that is the items that we have there. Now, we just didn't time this train right. We're passing it again on the other way, so no train ride on this one. You can see here that I'm doing the same thing coming out. I'm using the buffer system to pull this stuff out, and we can see here that there's a lot in the buffers at the moment. That's just due to the fact that I'm not using the resources completely. Then I take all of these items and I belt them over here to my storage facility. That's going to be the start of where I build my power plant. So you've got the train coming in here, you've got the items coming out of the train, you've got the nitrogen gas and the other items coming from down there. All of that's being belted up here in the middle, and all of that then is going into a storage facility and storage system here where I'm storing these items for, to be used later as I get into my build. So that's just, this is all just for temporary storage to make sure things keep running and going there. The other item that I have, there are a couple of other items over here on the hill over here. We have another node over here. Then this node here is also pulling sulfur. Now this is where my sulfur is coming from. I needed 330 sulfur. I'm pulling 360 and putting that onto the belt and running that over here. And then the other items that I need for this particular build are on this side of the map. The first one is here with this particular constructor miner. This miner is pulling out the limestone, additional limestone that I need. I needed limestone was the resource that I needed the most of. That was 1,062. So this right here is bringing 360, plus I was bringing 720 from the belt, so 1,080. So just barely enough limestone. And then finally, the last item on the resource list is the oil, and the oil here is I've got an extractor set up to extract the oil at 120 per minute. Didn't need any oil, anything there. I only need 63 per minute. So that's the beginning of my factory. We'll talk more about the constructors. Now, some of the stuff here is I'm just bringing items in to build concrete. Right now, this is the concrete plant. This is the first floor of my constructor. I've put in the concrete plant that's turning all the items into concrete and running it over to a resource sink over there. Now the idea here is that in this facility right over here, as you saw before, right over there in the lake and kind of over there in the forest on the north side of the lake is where the plant is going to be. That is all for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit the like button and leave a comment to let me know what you think. Please subscribe to the channel to be notified when new content is available, and check out the links shown here for more gameplay. Take care.